just real quick before we get started, please make sure your mics are turned off. You can have your videos on or off. It's completely up to you. We will have a portion at the end where we'll have time to kind of discuss a few things and have questions. So please feel free to take notes, and we'll have that time at the end of the presentation. Okay, let's get started. So a little bit about us. My name is Johanna. I am the Assistant Director of Fitness and Wellness at Texas Tech University Recreational Sports. I've been here exactly 8 years and 4 months.
And I am Josie Wielinski. I am the Coordinator of Fitness and Wellness at Texas State University Campus Recreation. I have been here it'll be 1.5 years in December, and I've been full-time, it'll be 1 year in February. So yeah, I'm pretty new.
Awesome. All right, so a little bit more about us. You can see some fun pictures. I have my beautiful dog Lucy right in the middle of the center. I love that picture. So right now I'm finishing up my 200-hour certification, all virtually. So I'm excited to almost be done. And then of course, I'm going to give you feedback and let you know kind of what I learned and what I thought my journey has been. Teaching to active agers, and I'm currently doing an applied women's physiology and training 8-week course.
And a little bit more about me. So the dog, we were staying on theme with that today, but that was my foster dog. He, Buster, came to live with me and my roommate during quarantine, and we worked out together on the roof of my garage when we were getting stir crazy. But I'm currently finishing up my master's degree in recreation management this summer. Super excited to be done with school for a little bit. And something really exciting that we've done at Texas State that I'm really proud of is that we just launched our nutrition coaching program. And despite COVID, despite all of the challenges with figuring out logistics, it has been going really well. We've seen a lot of success with it, especially for it being brand new. And then as soon as I'm done with my degree, I cannot wait to get my CSCS certification. I really want to get some Olympic weightlifting certifications and then also nail down the 32 count.
All right, so our learning objectives, you're going to walk away learning new ways to add value to your group fitness instructor training course. We're going to talk about what skill sets are needed for fitness instructors in order for them to be irreplaceable. And then we're going to talk about leadership and kind of what our role is as far as how we set the tone and how we inspire our staff. We broke down this presentation into 4 categories. The first, we're going to talk about what makes a world-class instructor. The second, we're going to cover important skill sets to have. The third, the group fitness instructor training course. And then lastly, student development, leadership, and mentoring. All right, so let's get started here. So there are 4 big categories that we need to instill in our instructors for them to become irreplaceable and the best of the best. And the first is professionalism. So everything from think about their uniforms, what they wear, to how much time they dedicate to actually planning out the fitness classes. So having everything has a purpose when they plan out for their classes. Being respectful, coming to class 15 minutes on, beforehand to set up, to make connections, and then staying after an additional 10 minutes to again make some more connections and things like that. So professionalism is the first category. The second one is education. We cannot stress enough the importance of having your primary group fitness certification on top of additional certs. Now, just because you see someone with 30 fitness certifications doesn't always mean that they have actually applied that information and know it like the back of their hand. So anytime you do get a certification, make sure you know the information and then go back and teach it to someone else. That way, not only are you educating someone else, but then that helps you kind of refresh and kind of retain that information. With cueing, making sure we're not just telling people where to stand, it's how that movement translates to our lives. Telling them what muscle groups we're using and actually physically with your hand showing the muscle area that you are talking about. So you're always educating no matter what. Researching, that is a big important part of our job, is always researching, reading books, reading articles, knowing your why we do what we do. And then lastly is inclusive language. So inclusive language is avoiding certain words or expressions that might exclude a particular group. So we will talk more a little bit about that throughout this presentation. The third category is entertainers, group fitness instructors. Yes, we do it the best. We really know how to work a room, everything from the lighting to the music, having themed classes, activities, and of course, just the overall engagement. And then the last is popularity. We want our instructors to be popular, because if they're popular, that means people are lining up to come to the classes, they're promoting them, they're all over social media. And then as administrators, this helps us with our stats, our numbers, so that we can defend our program, so that we can use it for our budgets to order new equipment, to get bigger spaces. So overall, these are the 4 categories that really makes up the world-class fitness instructor.
And now we'll move on to the specific skills that we think are really key for our group fitness instructors. So this might seem like we repeat some stuff, but there's a little bit twist when they're actually implementing it in each individual classes. So the first thing to start out with is just the fitness formats. We think that the 32 count is a really transferable skill for your instructors to know and practice in all of their classes, or most of their classes. It can help when we teach the music. It helps create that energizing atmosphere that draws our students in, that elevates the experience of the class. And then also when our instructors can know and teach a variety of formats, that only makes them better. They become more flexible in their methods of teaching, and as well as it just makes them marketable because they have such a wide variety of things that they can do. And the education and cueing part, these two kind of go hand in hand and can kind of be tossed around. And not just from the certification, oh, I have this certification, I'm an expert, but do we actually know how to explain the purpose of what we're doing, whether it's the individual exercise, the format as a whole, or just in today's class? What is the purpose? This creates a ton more credibility for you as an instructor. It helps back up your certifications. And I think we all know or have had that experience if you're an instructor of a participant that's come up and asked you questions and maybe asked you about your certifications. We want to be able to convey that importance and help educate those students and those participants. And then as far as cueing goes, each individual instructor has their own unique style and their own unique teaching personality. And we want our instructors to know who they are, and we want to know ourselves as instructors. That way, when we cue, when we teach to our classes, we're creating a really authentic experience that makes people want to come back because they like our personality, they like who we are, as well as just using a variety of cues. We all don't like to hear the same thing said over and over, and we start to tune out. It helps with class engagement.
All right, so the next skill is social media. So you will hear me say this multiple times. It's not going away. It's not, we have to teach them how to do it, because once they graduate and go to whether it's a private studio or 24-hour fitness, lifetime fitness, that is like part of their job description. Employers are now looking at social media to see how they're promoting, what's their brand like. I would rather have us teach them about social media, because I feel like we're also going to educate them on, don't stay on it too much, make sure you turn it off at 10 p.m., those type of things, so that they can do it in a more healthy way. But it's definitely important for them to start learning how to do it. And a lot of schools have done this now. They're using social media to really educate. So exercises and lectures, and that's something we should keep doing. And everyone has been doing such an amazing job with that. And just remembering that we're now catering to a bigger audience. It's not just the people inside of rec center now, it's everyone outside. And this is great for your university. That's more exposure for your fitness department. And then of course, now your fitness instructors are really superstars, right? They're all over. Another skill set that's important to teach and make sure your instructors know are the soft skills. So it's learning patience. which is why we recommend the 32 count and being able to just put in music and teach a class. So if you're teaching a step class and people aren't getting the choreography, you can spend a little bit more time on it before moving on to the next thing. So it's really learning and remembering what it's like to first start off as a participant. And that kind of goes with empathy and just putting yourselves in their shoes. Teaching them communication, where to stand, how to use your hands, how to speak. And then of course, setting boundaries as well. We are not counselors or therapists. We can't just stay after class and talk for an hour about their lives. So again, teaching our students what the boundaries are between instructor and student relationship. And then again, lastly, inclusive language, we touched a little bit on it before, but it's really utilizing our words to really create this inclusive atmosphere. So I'll give you an example. Just imagine an instructor comes into the room and they say, good morning, ladies. We try not to single out groups because we actually don't know what maybe genders is actually in the room. So instead, we just want to say something like, good morning, everyone, or just good morning. So it's those little things that sometimes we just don't realize. And that was just a very basic example. But that's just really going to make your instructors really stand out because you don't know where they're going to be teaching at, right? So before we move forward to the next part, so I just want to reiterate kind of what Josie and I have been stressing. Really teach your instructors the 32 count, really emphasize that they're learning different formats, teaching them social media, how to do it, provide them the tools for it, and then of course, inclusive language, the soft skills and communication. So that if you walk away with anything, walk away with those things, okay? So this is our favorite part of our presentation. We are now going to look at group fitness instructor courses. We have 6 different universities. We have some from Texas, from our schools, and then we have some from different regions. So now we're going to look at some of the things that they're offering that's really unique and special. So we're going to start off with the University of Vermont. This is in Burlington, Vermont, and it's part of Region 1. So they have a course that's 1 semester. They cover cycle, yoga, Pilates, floor aerobics boot camp, and it's for course credit. And it's hybrid, so they use Blackboard and they do in person. And what's really unique about their program is that they offer a 200-hour Yoga Alliance approved course. It's 7 weekends plus 1 4-day intensive hybrid. And you see the price range, right? So one price is for the students and it can go all the way up to for the community. They actually created their own materials and then got it approved, and now they have their own school. So it's awesome because that's more revenue for their department, and that's awesome for their students to walk away with the 200-hour certification. Right now they're going through ACE for group fitness and NASM for personal training. All right, Illinois State University. They are part of Region 3. They offer an 8-week course. They have 1 coordinator and 2 student assistants that help. They cover Zumba, strength, HIIT, cycle, cardio, kickboxing, and it's not offered for credit. Because of COVID, they've done 2 weeks of lecture through Zoom and then 6 weeks in person. And what's unique about their program is that they use Blackboard for all of their assignments and quizzes, and they upload videos. They're doing a lot of video evaluations. And they're using this new program, it's new to me because I hadn't heard about it. It's called Flipgrid, and it's basically like a discussion board. So you can type out questions and then everyone can kind of submit their replies and they kind of go back and forth. So we thought that was really cool. And they go through ACE for group fitness. And then Texas Tech University. So of course we are part of Region 4. So our course is 12 weeks. We have tried 8 weeks, we've tried 10 weeks, but 12 weeks seems to just be what best fits for us. So I run that with my 2 student supervisors, and these are the formats we cover: step, kickboxing, strength, core, cycle, Pilates, yoga, water, and bar was recently added about 2.5 years ago. So when we started incorporating that. It's currently not offered for course credit. We do offer it, or we have offered it as virtual and in person. So what's unique is that about 1.5 years ago, we decided to create a Google website as a supplement tool. So what we did is we broke down every single format and we broke it down into 7 videos. So for example, step, we had one video that we're teaching you to count. The next set video, we taught you everything there is to know about the step, the height requirements, the do's and don'ts. The third video was how to do a warm up, and we'll show you choreography. The fourth was a full-on combination. The fifth one was like vertical step, and then the last one was like a really cool, just fun step video. And so we did this for each one. It took a little over 6 months to complete it. We utilized our own instructors. They felt completely bought in. And then of course, when COVID happened, it was perfect timing. We used it to run our course virtually. So it just happened, perfect timing. So we're gonna continue to work on that and just build it and just do better with it. We do offer a punch card. Students have to do 30 classes and they have to get it signed off by one of the instructors that they attend. And so again, that just kind of builds rapport. And then lastly, we've added 3 new mini trainings in the past 2 years. One is social media. So we teach them how to actually build their brand, do's and don'ts. And we tie this in with their graduation. So they get a little certificate saying they've completed the course. And then we set up a white backdrop and just lighting. Everyone has a cell phone. We put out some equipment and we just let them go. And they just take pictures and things like that. We've added a 1-hour inclusive language training. My student supervisor, Shelby, created it. She's got activities for it. And we just practice our words with the instructors. And then lastly is a soft skills / troubleshooting. We teach the instructors what to do when your mic goes out in the middle of class. Still keep the class moving, you're still cueing, you're still bringing energy, all at the same time while you are fixing your mic and taking care of that. So it's just, those are the little things we've added. We recently switched from ACE to AFA and NASM. It's been a little over a year now.
Okay, so up next we have Arizona University. They are a part of Region 6, and they offer a 10-week course through ACE. And in that course, they just teach the general formats that ACE presents throughout that course. But then they also do their own in-house trainings, which is pretty unique. And they typically do it over the weekend and utilize 1 to 2 staff to teach formats like cycle, fusion flow, tempo training, cardio dance, and then they also offer F45. It's currently not offered for course credit, but they do have virtual and in-person courses going. And they use this course a lot to cross-train their PTs to take on Group X as well. So expand the knowledge and of their currently existing staff. And right now they go through ACE for both Group X and personal training. And up next, so we have The Ohio State University. This is actually my alma mater, so I went through this program. And it was a really great experience. It's why I'm here today, basically. But they have a length of the course offered 2 semesters long. The first semester focuses highly on the anatomy and format training, as well as just getting down the basic skills of teaching, getting a lot of practice in. While the second semester, you actually, if you pass your audition at the end, you get to take on your own class, but you get paired with a student mentor and or a veteran instructor to mentor you, help you team teach for a few 3 weeks, give you some more one-on-one practice and feedback in the real live class setting. And the formats that they cover, they have strength, cycle, dance, bar and Pilates, and then yoga. This is not offered for course credit and is an in-person course. So some unique things about this program is they hire 40 instructors every year through this program that are only students. And this course is not paid for, which is pretty unique by the students, but they are not officially hired until they go through that whole first semester of training. So they aren't getting paid as instructors until they get a class on the semester. And in that first semester, it's about 6 to 10 hours per week commitment, and in which they only start with one format. So as the trainee, you choose one format that you want to focus on. And once you show competence in that format, you can start adding on the other formats in that first semester of teaching. The rec also brings about 2 to 3 certs to the students for free every year, which is amazing. And what's really cool about them is the format groups are led by veteran instructors. So their students get a lot of hands-on practice with leadership and as well as learning how to facilitate a meeting. And they use group exercise as their course.
Sorry.
Okay, and then up next, we have Texas State. So we have just recently switched to AFA for our group exercise course. This is the first semester we're actually offering it. The length of the course, 10 weeks long, just so that we can cover everything that we want to cover in it. And currently it is myself, the coordinator, and my supervisor, the assistant director, running the course. But as we advance, as we grow our instructor pool, we hope to pull in our instructors, give them the practical experience of leading it. Formats that we cover strength, cycle, dance, step, bar, yoga, and then also TRX if that's something that they're interested in. We don't offer it for course credit right now, but we do have virtual and in-person options and a lot of ways that the students can interact with the course virtually. Some unique things that we've done with the course is we've been able to add it or open it up to the community members. And unfortunately with COVID, they have to be virtual only, but they Zoom into our meetings, and thus far it's been working out really well. They get practical application teaching through Zoom, which is also really unique because that's kind of the new norm for a lot of people. And it's a little bit different than teaching an in-person class. We also utilize Canvas that's offered to us through the university for different assignments, discussion, and reflection. So one of my big goals with the instructors is when they take on their own class, I want them to be able to self-reflect really well and be able to piece apart different things that happened in their class, become more self-aware, and use and be their own kind of coach to help themselves set goals. So the Canvas course helps them do that, helps them facilitate some of those thoughts and ask themselves those questions. We also do some weekly check-ins via Zoom because we really focus on practical skills when we're in person. And we want to make sure that they're doing okay with the material that AFA offers, because AFA has their whole totally own portal that goes chapter by chapter with quizzes. And so we do some weekly check-ins that just to make sure that they're on track with the material, we can answer any questions that they have and help them understand. We found that to be really helpful for the students that aren't health professions majors and haven't had that education in their academic courses. And then we use AFA, like I said before, and NASA for personal training.
So we were able to show you 6 different schools, 6 different ways to set up your group fitness instructor training courses and something unique about each one. So hopefully you were able to take some things away and maybe the wheels in your head are starting to turn about some things that you can add differently to your courses.
Okay, so next we're going to go over, Johanna and I talked quite a bit about what really needs to be in our courses. So we broke it down by the necessities, different things that you can do to add value to that course, and then also talking about the logistics, because we need to make sure that what we want to do is actually truly possible. So up first, we have our recommended topics and what we felt are the necessities. First off, you want to teach your instructors how to introduce themselves, how to start off class on the right foot, get all the information they need to, because that sets the tone for the classes. We also believe that it's very important that your instructors in training attend the classes that you offer through the rec. So because you've probably, if you've been doing it for a couple of years, you've trained those instructors, they get to see what you're actually teaching them in class and practice. It helps them build those connections. It helps them see, oh, I could actually do that in class. I liked that cue. And helps facilitate, helps them learn and grow. Then also, we want to make them aware of the expectations of the job if they're to be hired on, and prepare them then for the real world if they're to go out and teach elsewhere. So in the real world, if we want your classes to have, they want your classes to have a good following. If you don't have a highly attended class compared to other classes, you might lose that class. So we think it's really important to let them know, like, hey, this is where our max capacity is. We want you filling classes as much as we can. And basically keeping lost my train of thought. Growing the capacity so that they're ready for when they go out and teach, that they know how to build a class following. And that ties in some of that social media training as well. You also really need to have an evaluation or audition. That helps them know where they're at, helps you as a supervisor plan out who is strong in certain classes, how you want that next schedule to look like with them on it. Also, it's going to help you evaluate your own course. So if you have 10 people training and 8 of them aren't doing super hot in all of the formats or in certain formats, that's where you need to go in and reevaluate what it is you're teaching, how you're teaching it, what's working, what's not. Also, your students need to know alignment and anatomy. They need to be able to convey that to a class, so they need to know it on even a higher level than, like, my quad is right here. They need to be able to explain how the movements will feel to their participants, what the purpose of it is. And then also, this just helps make our classes a more safe environment as well, which is top priority for all of us. We want to avoid injury at any possible place. And then we identified 4 key formats that are really core to teaching group exercise, to creating really great, well-rounded instructors. And these 4 are step, cycle, yoga and Pilates, and strength. So from all of these core formats, other formats can start to branch off, but these are the 4 that really provide all the fundamentals that students and instructors need to know. And then finally, cueing. It's important. We've talked about it before, but one way to think about cueing and teaching them how to structure cues, how to progress their cues throughout a class for an exercise, is using the 6 Ps. So first of all, they have to plan. They have to know what's coming up for each class that they have. Then they also need to know the purpose of the exercise and convey that to the individuals. Progressions and regressions, right? We want to cater to every single person that walks in the door for classes, as well as our prana or breath. So educate them on how to breathe through the exercise so that they can execute it as best as possible. And then adding that personal twist to it. Makes it a little bit more interesting, helps show the instructor personality, and also can be really motivational.
There we go. My button was getting stuck. All right, so as Josie talked about, those were just the bare minimum. So if you are just starting to build your group fitness instructor course, that's kind of where you want to start, and then you build it from there. So what are ways that we can add value to our courses? Price. Okay, so here's this quote. It says, "We only get what we believe that we deserve." raise the bar, raise your standards, and you will receive a better outcome. And the person who did this quote was Joelle Brown. So true story, I have a good friend / mentor, Jamie Thayer, he's the assistant director of fitness and wellness at Washburn University. And we have had so many discussions about raising our prices for our courses. I have been so stubborn. I didn't want to raise the prices. I gave every excuse possible. And ultimately, he drilled it in my head, and he's right. We have to believe in our product. We have to believe in the services that we offer. And it is our job to set that quality high. So if you don't feel like your group fitness instructor training course is of value, then we have a problem, right? But you're here at this presentation, so hopefully that'll motivate you, that'll get you some new ideas to really start increasing the quality. So I'll tell you, believe in your product and the services you're offering. When we raised the prices, people started paying more, and we are now making a lot more money off of our courses, okay? All right, something else to add to your courses is we have to start thinking now virtually. We have to start thinking what's going to be best for our participants, what's going to be easier access for them. So for example, maybe coming up with a platform so where you can have all of your manuals, all the additional like videos, all sorts of stuff in one location for them to have easy access. So a lot of people use Blackboard. You can use Google website. I know Josie was talking about Canvas. So there's just different things that you can use to just find something that's best for you. Think about videos. So now you can load up a video, they can send it to you, you can evaluate, you can send it back. Think about virtual live lectures. So the course that I'm doing now, we meet once a week live. And then you could even do check-ins. I know a lot of us were doing Zoom throughout this time. And then even think about potentially doing pre-recorded things. So if you're going to be repeating something over and over, just pre-record it, send it to them, and again, if you're anything like me, I like to be in person. I want to see them face to face, but unfortunately times are changing, and this is an opportunity for us to start like reaching more people. All right, and then of course, building community that always adds value to our courses, right? So allowing them to practice together, even if it's Zoom, you can always do breakout sessions, teaching them how to give feedback to each other. If I know, like at the end of this presentation, everyone's gonna give me feedback, I'm gonna love it because I'm like, okay, they're wanting me to be better, I can do better. And then vice versa, if you're presenting or somebody sends me a fitness video, I'm gonna evaluate you, and that's how you build that rapport, and that's how you build that care for each other. And then of course, attending fitness classes, learning, meeting the instructors, things like that. And then additionally, adding new formats. So if you're starting off, if you're like, Johanna, I only know how to teach 4 fitness formats, and I know how to do those 4 well, great, let's start there. And then I will tell everybody, every 6 months, you should be learning 1 new format or brushing up on a previous format that maybe you haven't taught in a while. That holds us accountable, but guess what? Now you're adding something different to your course, which also justifies why you can raise the price. So if you started with 4, now you're adding 2, hey, we got 2 new formats, add on additional $25, $50, boom, right? And then you continue to do that as you continue to grow your program, you get better, your students will get better. And I think the next bullet I had, I think it was Cece from University of Texas that told me she adds an additional session just to go over special equipment. So that's like an added bonus. So they go over BOSU and gliders and whatever else they have in their closet, but they really teach them how to use these special equipments. And I thought that was a really good idea.
So moving on to the course logistics, like I said before and kind of alluded to, you have to make sure that you actually have the time to do what you plan to do, the resources to plan to do what you do. So first things first, the course length. I think we've all questioned, okay, is like 8 weeks good? Can we do it in, like, what can we do with whatever time we have? And really the most general way of thumb is the more formats you want to do, the more time you need to have for your courses. So And that's really because we want the students to actually learn them, to learn them well, and feel confident once you've covered each format. And then the other part is do we lecture? Do we teach them the material from the books? Do we not? I think we all are, the importance of practical teaching is really important. We want to make sure they're ready to step into that classroom when they have their first class. So how do we prioritize that time? Some different things to think about is how can you partner with different entities to help get the students that education. So AFO is a really great example of it. Not to plug them, but they, like I mentioned before, they have a whole portal that walks them through all of the material. And that allows me as a supervisor to really prioritize what makes us prioritize the practical hands-on application. We can make sure that they're actually understanding how those concepts that they're reading in the book apply to a live classroom setting. And then also, cutting down on your lectures can help you with the time available that you have to teach. So another also way to do this, and I did this previously last semester when teaching ACE, an idea is to pre-record lectures like Johanna mentioned, and that way when they watch it before class, they come in ready to teach. Another thing to do, we talked about the academic offerings. Can they get some academic credit for it as well? And I think sometimes these partnerships with academics can be kind of tough to navigate, but start just reaching out to ESS professors, to coordinators of those programs to see what you might have to do to work with them and make your life easier, make their lives easier. And how can that also just benefit the students that are coming through? Then we talked about virtual offers. What does your university allow versus not allow? Here we have Canvas, but we're not allowed to use anything Google. So also the platform is really important because you want it to be usable. You want to not have to spend a lot of time learning it. So weighs the pros and cons as far as what resources are available to you. And then of course, we have to prioritize what is best. So what does your program need over the next few years to grow, to get to where you want it to go? And so that's where we pull out whatever strategic planning we've done, whatever goals we've created with our full-time teams, with our own supervisors to say, okay, how can we create a course that's going to help us get there and prioritize what is best? Because at the end of the day, sometimes we might have to sacrifice certain things to get to where we gotta go, but have those conversations and think about it. Okay. And then next, we will talk about the importance of student development. So we have a little quote here, and I think we've alluded to it a little bit already, but when leaders get better, everyone gets better. So this was said by Craig Groeschel. And key thing here is it starts with us. We are the ones teaching our students. We are the ones that hold them accountable, that create the schedules, that get them on payroll. And when we educate ourselves, it is only going to better them. We know that with the situation of COVID, with shrinking budgets, a lot of our professional development money might have gone away, but there's so many resources out there. And I think we have an advantage that we are in a really caring field, and people are go-getters. We want to help. So ask for help, identify people who you trust to mentor, and then also do your research. The internet, I don't know how people did it before. I really can't imagine it, but you have everything at your fingertips, and you have the background knowledge to hopefully identify who can you trust on the internet, who can you not trust, and then build your format repertoire, build your expertise from there. And then it's all about getting out of your comfort zones. We ask our students to get out of the comfort zones every single day when they step in front of a class. We have to be able to do it too. And personally, that's why I'll say like the 32 count is my next big group fitness goal, because that is not my comfort zone. And if you know me, you know it's not my comfort zone. But it's only going to better my students. So, and I see the value in that.
All right, with that being said, another important key is let's not waste our time on bad meetings. Like, be educational and be intentional with your meetings. That is one of my biggest pet peeves, just to have a meeting to have a meeting. No, like, we need to have a purpose as to why we're having meetings, and make them fun, make them interactive, but most importantly, make them educational. Our job is to educate, just like Josie said. The more we learn as professionals, the more certs we get, the more that we teach, guess what? Now we get to share that love of fitness and all that information back towards our students. So all we did here was just put a list of potential training topics. So if you might be feeling stuck right now, don't know what else to talk to your students about. So we talked about retaining clients and participants. So how do we keep those group fitness participants coming back? So you can do a whole lecture on that. Specialty equipment, special populations, if somebody comes in like they're pregnant or injuries or anything like that. Creating the experience, because we don't teach fitness classes, right? We create experiences. So how do we do that? Allowing students to lead presentations, and then of course, working with your personal trainers. Most personal trainers are really good at cueing. They are phenomenal at it, right? They're great at programming. Group fitness instructors are known to be popular and energetic, and we know how to communicate. So let's kind of start working together, and that could be a potential meeting in itself. All right, so with that being said, how do we keep these instructors on our staff? How do we keep them engaged? And that's by making them feel like they're superstars, okay? The private studios do a phenomenal job of this. They post them everywhere on social media. They do social media shout outs, but it's also thinking about our onboarding process, which our group fitness instructor training course is part of it. So we need to elevate that quality and that experience for them. So once they're hired, and then we have to do all the boring stuff, right? The payroll, the paperwork, all that, you know, they're already bought into our program. Think about awards and incentives, group fitness instructor of the year. And sometimes a high five or, hey, you're doing such a great job goes a long way. The biggest thing here is investing in your students. That comes back to us. There are so many opportunities out there, but it's up to us to really encourage them because they just don't know about it. Okay, so there's an opportunity that's going to come up. I'll talk about it in just a second. And then the last bullet point is building community. So again, that comes from your meetings, having one-on-ones, just really bonding with them. And again, investing in them is the big thing. All right. Creating opportunities. How do you do this? We all have students that come in and out of our office, and you can kind of pinpoint some of those natural leaders, and even some that maybe don't have the natural leadership, but you see that they're invested. So allow them to do some promo booths, allow them to do some theme classes, assist with special events, do fitness on demand, or some schools call it fitness to you, where they can go present across campus. And allow them to help you train and mentor others, right? That allows them to feel like they're part of something bigger, and they're learning a ton of leadership skills throughout all of this. Here at Tech, we normally do 2 conference style meetings, one in August and one in December. It's literally, we do 6 to 8 sessions. We pick our top fitness instructors and trainers, and we teach them how to present. They have to have a presentation, handouts, and a practical portion. And we teach them, and then they lead. From there, we choose our top students to submit a presentation for student lead on. It's a different style, but they can still talk fitness. We just have to be very strategic with the titles. And then from there, our students that get picked for TextFit, that's because they've already been presenting. So we are training them from the get-go. And with that being said, we have TextFit 2021 happening this year. It's a virtual conference. I've already spoken to Anna about it, and she is opening it up to Region 4. If you are outside of our Region 4, please email her and see if she is allowing that. But I know for Region 4 for sure. This is awesome. This is your chance as a leader to really develop students, get them ready. And for the students, this is just, it's really cool. They get so excited and they're so invested. And this is such a huge deal for them. And for us, it may not seem like that big of a deal, but for them, it really, really is. So please take the time to work with your students, get them ready. And if you have any more further questions about this conference, please feel free to talk to Anna.
Okay, so as we were talking about all these concepts, it turned into, wow, this is actually like a big cycle. And with that, like we said, it starts with us as we transitioned into this student development topic. And we know that it's a huge time investment on our end. It doesn't seem like it's some of the essential functions of the job. And what we wanted to kind of bring back to focus is it actually does really help our programs. It does help us as professionals. So basically, why is this investment worth it in our own time to learn and grow and our own time to build up our leaders, our great, amazing instructors? So once, as we get better, as we learn and grow, we're gonna make our courses better. That's just a natural progression. And through creating even better programmings, taking a look back at previous years, improving upon what you used to do, you're gonna get more and more amazing instructors. And those student instructors from that big group that you start hiring on, you're gonna see ones that start to stand out, that text you in the middle of the night sometimes asking for advice, or they hang out in your office, or they're always engaging, always trying to become better. Those people start to stand out. And they naturally transition into that student leadership role. And this is where we can use those great students and even encourage some of the ones that are more timid to get out there, and they can teach others. So taking opportunities like TextFit or Student Lead On, they can actually teach others. And then what does that do for our own programs? That just makes us look good as supervisors. It gives us exposure. And not just even in the campus rec world, but if they go out and teach at corporate gyms, at studios, whether it's while they're still working with you or when they graduate, the people are going to hear that they learned how to teach at Texas Tech, at UT, or whatever school you're at. And that's just only going to be like, hey, like, let's look out for those people that come from there, because this person was awesome, or is awesome. And so that just builds to create that really great reputation for your program. It helps you with potential hiring when you need to hire, because people are going to want to come work for you when you have a good reputation. And then, of course, we can't stay stagnant. Our fitness industry is always growing and changing, and so is how we teach, how we learn, how we grow as even people. And that just leads back into that full cycle. We learn and grow, and we continue to change from there. So kind of moving on to our recap. Basically, we really wanted to hone in on this presentation, the importance of investing your time in creating great instructors and elevating our programs. And it's only going to benefit, one, attendance in our classes, reputation, like I just said before, but then hopefully one day, this is my personal goal, I said it to Johanna yesterday, was that we don't have to listen to really terrible people on social media saying things that don't make any sense. And because it's just all our students out there. That's like the big overarching vision for me, at least, but that it is important.
So awesome. Thank you so much for coming to our presentation. We have a few more things for you. So we have a few resources. This is at the end of our slides that we will send to anyone that would like to have them. So we have instructor evaluation forms, some class outlines, introduction scripts. My boss, Cami, sent this. There's this new fitness technology webinar that's out there from ACSM. It's free CCs. I have to give a big shout out to my amazing mentor, Lawrence Biscontini. He has helped me build my courses. He's the person I go to anytime I have any type of trouble or anything with when it comes to our fitness program. And he also has this awesome free resources on Facebook, so definitely sign up for it. Tons of free stuff you don't want to miss out. And then we're going to open it up to questions. I have a QR code here. If you don't mind kind of clicking on it or scanning it with your phone, send us your email. We will send you this entire PowerPoint slide that has all the resource links. And if there's anything else that you want from us, just let us know and we'll send it to you. So we'll open it up for some questions. I think we're okay on time. Yes, we are. Okay. So what questions do we have? Let me look at.
Hi, Johanna and Josie. This is Courtney from the University of Houston. So thank you both for the presentation. It was very helpful as we are looking to build out our course. I do have a question in regards to instructors that come already certified. So how do you incorporate them, and what does pricing look like if they already have a certification, or if they have like.
Did she cut out?
Yeah.
Oh. Courtney, can you repeat that last part you cut off?
Oh, sorry. But as far as incorporating instructors that are already certified,
Okay.
to your programs, as far as like pricing, or instructors that.
Dang it, she cut off on the last one.
I think I get the gist of her question though.
Okay.
And I can speak to that. We have a few instructors and personal trainers actually going through our AFA course right now. And since they do already have that certification, we know them as people. We give them a little bit of a discount on it because we just want them to learn and grow and get better, and that's what they want as well. And then I think the second part of your question, you can nod if this is what you were asking, was how do you incorporate them in just your program in general, since they're not going through that training? Is that your question? And build that community?
Yeah, so partly, and then like instructors that have higher level certifications that do require more of a investment on their own time. So we have a good bit of instructors that pay for 200-hour certifications and things like that out of their own pockets. So kind of how do you work that in and make it useful for them to pay for your training as well as a certification that they may have already paid upwards of $2,000 for?
Yeah.
So here at Tech, everyone has to go through a group fitness instructor training course. Whether you have a certification coming in or not. So if you have your primary group fitness, you still got to go through the course. If you're coming in with Zumba, you still got to go through the course, because we need instructors that can teach multiple things. And I know that's really hard for yoga instructors, especially if that is their thing. But what I've noticed is that a lot of yoga instructors go into barre, they go into Pilates. And so our course goes through that. So they might as well just learn it all. Even if all they're really going to teach is kind of the Pilates and yoga, that's okay. Because part of the group fitness instructor training course is it builds that teamwork. So you want them to already start being part of the team. Now, if they do have their 200-hour, I still probably would put them on the schedule after auditions, but they still got to go through the course. Does that make sense? They got to be part of the team. They got to be part of it, and they got to buy into your vision and mission and everything that you stand for. And that's part of the course. That's just what we do at Tech. I don't know if anyone else has another.
We're a little different. They don't necessarily have to. Part of the reason for that though is when my supervisor and I started like summer of last year, we were really, really hurting for instructors. As we grow, part of my hope is that it does get to that where we are training them, and that way we can just know their skills, know that they know how to teach.
That's a good question, because that's hard, because they come in already knowing and they're like, well, I already know how to teach. I'm like, we can put you on the schedule, but you still got to go through the course. What other questions do we have? Keep asking. Y'all have us here. You have other colleagues as well.
So I've got a question. So with our, like, I guess, student population, our biggest struggle right now is just getting people into the course. And then once they get in there, staying in the course, because like with so many first generation students on our campus, they're mostly like, they love our classes and they want a job, but then we're having them go through this course, and half the time they'll like contact me halfway through and they'll be like, oh, I already found a job, so like I'm out, I'm gonna go work here. So I don't know if anybody else is having that same problem with running their course, because I mean, we get good instructors, but we might get one, which obviously is better than none. But when I need like 6, one doesn't really help that much.
So we recruit a lot, and I don't know where you're recruiting. We recruit a lot from the theater department and the dance department, kinesiology, kind of. But the theater people, they're already used to being out in front. And then the dancers just know how to count to the music. So when they go start with step or everything else, they're just picking it up super quickly. So I don't know much about, I've only been to Huntsville maybe once or twice. So I don't really remember what the, like your city is like, and that might be affecting that as well. If you have anything else, Josie, I'm trying to think.
I mean, we struggle with it a little bit. Marketing is a challenge for us. We try to market to our participants that are already in our classes, especially the ones that keep on going. So we might tell instructors, hey, if you see anybody in your class that is there front row all the time, tell them, hey, I think you might be a good instructor if they're talking to you, if they're conversating with you. And then just that idea, I think I've gotten people to enroll in courses just by saying that, and they're like, oh, maybe I could do that. So that's a tool that I've used and we've used before.
That's a good idea, recruiting and having your instructors recruit for you.
I have a question. What are some, I know, Josie, you spoke about Ohio State and some of the leadership opportunities with veteran instructors. What are ways that y'all bring your staff or incorporate your instructors into your training programs and leadership opportunities that you give them?
Are you asking specifically at Ohio State or at Texas State? Because it's different.
Both.
Both? Okay.
Sure.
So at Texas State right now, we're starting off pretty small, especially now COVID's changed some things. But we just started giving our veteran trainers, veteran instructors opportunities to be like, hey, do you want to lead an in-service and teach people how to use a specific piece of equipment? And got a lot of good feedback from our students on that. So that's where we're starting. As we build our program, because like I said, it's our first year offering AFA, I want to see more students, the students that come out of that, bring them in. So that probably won't happen for us until next year. But at Ohio State, we, it kind of was like a progression. So if you started taking on as a veteran instructor, a student mentor who had just gone through the program, then our supervisor would kind of pick through those people and see like, hey, do you want to come help out like just one Sunday, because our trainings were all on Sundays, and help facilitate the training for the strength group or the yoga group. And so they would see, hey, how does that go? And eventually maybe you might become that format lead. So I was the format lead there for the strength training, for the strength group. And then that just means that you're there every week, pretty much leading them through the exercises, doing discussion with them and all that. So it was kind of like a progression. They kind of see where you're at. And then also the supervisors that I had did a really great job of asking what we as individuals wanted out of our experience as an instructor with them. So they were able to tailor it really well to us. Does that answer the questions?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
I think I just got a message that says 5 minutes. So if anyone else has anything else, we can keep going for 5 minutes. Does anybody want to talk about their group fitness program that maybe has something unique and something different that maybe we can all learn from? Or something maybe you want to try or something